People are strange. Something strange.
Is that strange?
That is strange.
Strange.
That is strange.
Wow, that is strange. This is strange.
And we are back with another episode of Strange Sauna Flex. So much has happened in just 1 week. Donald Trump released this crazy ass video on his Truth Social account, on his X account, basically highlighting Trump Gaza. It's like this restored new Gaza. You have like AI everywhere. There's like women with beards, supposedly.
Yeah, that was a little messed up.
Right? Dancing with their belly shirts and all this stuff. And then you have a lot of stuff happen with the Ukraine, Zelenskyy, Trump, JD Vance meeting in the Oval Office. I think it's all WWE, if you ask me. There's even a picture of a belt, just like this one right back here on my wall.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, all of this stuff with the Epstein Files, and people are looking at Israel saying, what does Israel have America by the balls? Is this what we're dealing with here? That's the main question. So What do you think, dude?
Well, I mean, listen, everything is based on a true story except for the facts that have been changed. That's basically how the world that we live in. You know, we try to find some truth in something, and there's always something that's sort of manipulated and changed to either, throw you one way or throw you the other way. Last week was a very interesting week with Zelenskyy and Trump in the office. Looked like they were going to duke it out. Jean Hackman we'll talk about as well today.
That's right.
There's
yes.
some interesting stuff. The bait and switch that I talked about with RFK Jr. There's a bit of a bait and switch happening now.
He's all for measles vaccines now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And listen, we just talked about, title belts. Well, you had John Cena.
Oh boy.
Who's been a good guy his whole career in the WWE, turned heel, which means bad guy, on Saturday night in Toronto. They had a pay-per-view. So now he's joined The Rock and he joined Travis Scott. So all the guys that are all, Illuminati owned. And The Rock even said, I want to own your soul. So they're just putting it into story.
He said that during the show?
He put it onto the show. Yeah, because I want to own your soul. And he wanted the champion to sell his soul, and he wouldn't, so John Cena did. So yeah, there's heel turns and squealing and mealing. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Well, let's start with this whole Zelenskyy WWE battle that happened in the Oval Office. And here is this freaking wrestling belt right here in the corner here. And I don't know who is this. Eddie Murphy's head statue over here?
Either Eddie Murphy or is it a Michael Jordan?
I mean, you got these creepy look at this one. This one is very odd looking, like alien-esque.
He's got a 5 head, not a 4 head.
Right.
He's got a 5 head there. That's a big forehead.
So anyway, they start this, this whatever you want to call charade, where they sit down Zelenskyy in front of the cameras, Trump and Vance starts it off by saying we're trying to have some solid diplomacy and blah, blah, blah. And the former administration hasn't done this, and we're going to be doing it transparently. And this is why we're here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Very smooth, slick. He's a politician. So what do you expect? And then, Zelenskyy starts talking out of the corner of his mouth. And I get it. He's in no position, bro, to come in there and be like,
not at all.
You will feel the regret, basically saying you're going to feel this if you don't help me out,
Mm-hmm.
So I get why Trump and Vance but they jumped on that, and that's all the story became. And it was okay, you've done your probing and your warning. You could have just said dude, you're in no position to talk about what's going to be happening. This whole meeting is about us supporting you and the frivolous amount of spending that we've done so, and we've not seen any accounts happen here. It's basically going into a bottomless pit.
Mm-hmm.
And then done. And then you just move on with the conversation. And instead, it just turned into this back and forth battle. I think I have the clip of it here somewhere, but yeah. What did you think?
Well, what I noticed was Trump's back got up when Zelenskyy said something about you're so protected by your oceans
Right.
and all this. And when he goes, but you won't understand when you don't have that someday, alluding to something like that. And that's when Trump's back got like heckled up. And, and there's one point where Trump was put his hand on Zelensky. I don't know, just to calm him down, but it looked like he pushed him. He's like,
yeah?
bro, I watched the longer video on it, and went back and I was kind of like, when did Trump really lose it?
I thought it was the other way around, though. So Zelensky punched Trump right here. So, I mean,
I have one where he kicks Trump right in the head.
I mean, this is like pretty clear. The Zelensky knocked Trump out on national TV. So I don't know.
And
that's
we
fake,
have to
everybody.
remember,
It's fake.
folks, they are all actors. All of them. JD Vance, Trump, Zelensky. They all have their I saw some posts.
Yeah. I
where
posted
I
that
was
to
like,
the freaking Telegram.
You posted it. Thank you. And I'm like, these are all actors. And they've said, and Trump has said in the past, bad actors. And at this point, Zelensky is really an actor. Like if you do
Zelensky?
some research. So what's his name?
Zelensky.
Zelensky.
Not
I'm thinking
Lizinski. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
was thinking of Monica Lewinsky. Sorry. There's too many Inskys.
There are.
Insky Skinsties. But this dude was an actor, a comedian. And, I understand that Ronald Reagan was an actor and became president as well. But yeah, all three of these dudes are actors. Like,
you know what I mean?
I'm here for the excuses. That's my new t-shirt. We're going to get t-shirts done up and says, I'm here for the excuses. Because how do you excuse all this? Like, you can go and look all this up.
Well, and I mean, they all have like IMDb pages, and I get JD Vance was in his like whatever, like his biography or something, right? Hillbilly Elegy. So I guess that's whatever. Donald Trump, he's a producer. He's been on that frickin' whatever show, right? The Apprentice. Yeah. I throw in some like Q stuff because what makes a movie good? Great actors, right? So they're kind of telling you politics and quote, it's all a sham. That's like they're alluding to this whole thing being fake, you guys. So I mean, take it for what you want. If you want to think like, oh my God, Trump's so fucking big and his balls are so big that he's just doing this. Okay, but I think that this is staged a little bit. I mean, I think it's staged a lot of bit. I'll put it
a lot. I was going to say not a little bit. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Zelensky's been the fall guy. I think they put him in to be the fall guy. He's an actor. They put him in. And I've said this. I said this on Pardon My American. It's like they want people who are inept at this job so that way they can control them easier. If you had somebody who was smart and knew how to like do the process and knew what to say and knew the rules and what their rights were, they wouldn't be allowed to be in charge of a country.
Yeah. They need to have a certain level of controllability before they even decide when they want to control them, like a lapdog, a puppet, and just be like, will this person go along with stuff?
Right.
And that could be said with Trump too, right? Like I feel there's stuff on Trump and as well, and that's why some of these files are never going to come out because you got our RFK Jr.'s wife has been connected to stuff with who and whatever. So I kind of feel like they all are controlled because they've all done something. There's no way you can be that high up on the echelon and not have some shady background, especially with real estate and commercial buildings and stuff like that.
I honestly think Trump has blackmail on people. I think it's the other way around. I think that's why he's still alive. Yeah. I think that's a very plausible reason why he's not been killed is because he has a dead man trigger and he will release whatever the fuck he wants. Like, I mean, he's going to be dead.
Pull the trigger and just finish with it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just like one of those things where I think that if you look at Roy Cohn, Trump's protege, or like Trump was the protege of Roy Cohn, right? Roy Cohn was Trump's mentor. Watch that documentary, Where Is My Roy Cohn? They're heavily involved with one another. Roy Cohn was this brutal beast of a frickin' lawyer, a hidden homophobe, or a hidden, not homophobe, but a hidden homosexual. He loved men, but he didn't say he loved men because it was a stigma back in the day, right? So it's one of those things where he purchased a hotel that Roy Cohn, I believe, owned, or at least did some business in there where there was some espionage / recording of people through these hidden cameras. So Trump knows all about that. He's talked about it openly on The Apprentice, where he's warned his daughter, whenever you go into a hotel, to always check for these certain areas because that's where they hide the cameras. So it's one of those things where he's been around this and he doesn't drink, he doesn't do drugs. So it's very plausible that he knows how to collect blackmail on people.
I could see that, you know, and I watched something just earlier today where they were breaking down the majority of the people that live in or have offices in the Trump Towers. And Trump had something in place where you could buy property, in his buildings anonymously, right? So you can get in there and do that. There's always this kind of idea that reason why he's in with Putin is because a lot of those oligarchs that brought their money over here were able to do it by buying these buildings, and Trump helped them with stuff like that's what
Casinos,
I mean by like
all that, right?
Yeah, when you're that high up, it's just like that's where he might have stuff on them and they have stuff on him. At this point, everyone's got stuff on everybody. You know, like how could you not?
It's really interesting is, given that he has married into Russian heritage numerous times now. I mean, Ivana Trump, brides. Right?
Yeah.
The
Ivanta.
Was it Ivanta Russian for my wife?
I want to hump you, like in Austin Powers or whatever it was.
There it is. So, I mean, it's like you have to wonder if Trump does have these connections with Russia that's not like what the left has been pushing this whole time, like Trump, Russia, possible collusion with the frickin' election. But you wonder if they've clouded that whole subject so that way anybody who looks at Trump and Russia as a possible connection is just seen as like this libtard / oh, dude, like where have you been? You've been living under a rock the past 5 years. Like that's been debunked. Hillary Clinton paid for that whole thing. So they do this to kind of cover up the real story. You know what I mean? And like the fact that he's married into the Russian oligarchy, I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's not necessarily oligarchy, but like Ivanka, or Ivana or whatever the hell. What's his first wife's name?
Ivana Trump, I think.
Is it Ivana? Yeah.
I think so.
And the fact that she fell downstairs, how she died, like very suspicious. Like,
how did she die? I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah, hold on a second here. Ivana Trump. Yeah, she like fell down some stairs, dude. It was very,
when
very
did
strange.
She pass?
So she was Czech American. She was a businesswoman. She died in 2022, July 14th.
Right. I remember. Right.
And let me see here. Cause of death. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom.
I mean, that's quite the fall or push.
Yeah, accidental, caused by her falling down a flight of stairs. Yeah, 73 years old. She was found unconscious and unresponsive. Fire department in New York. Individual suffering a cardiac arrest.
I mean, a lot can go wrong at that age, if you fall down. Like, you can die from a broken hip just from infection.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
I mean, I want to say that she fell down. Yeah, she died of blunt impact injuries to her torso. That's what the medical examiner said.
Like a baseball bat or the stairs?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a Bob Saget type of thing. You know what I mean?
That's it. Whatever happened with that? You know what I mean? There's so much that just comes in like a whirlwind and right out, almost like a tornado. It's just boom. I have to go back and write a list of everything that's happened since 2020, because there's so much when you go back and go, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Right.
Like,
well,
you forget.
I mean, so we have this whole thing with Ukraine, and he's telling Zelenskyy to F off. He cuts off supply to Ukraine, saying, we're not going to fund you until like you end the war and you do all these things. Then today, it sounds like Zelenskyy caved and he's willing to do some deals, right? But why are we not doing the same thing with Israel? Like, we're still funding, and we just approved a $4 billion. The Trump administration, I should say, just approved a $4 billion package that has like 2,000 bombs or 2,000 pound bombs going over to Israel, right? A lot of military equipment, weapons going to Israel, but we're still funding their war. Like, what?
Well, this is where I'm seeing his base start to really scratch their head. If it wasn't with his ties with Elon, is listen, if you're going to take away financial backing from Ukraine, then why are you still continuing with Israel? Like he says, where's the America First policy?
Right.
Right. And that's why I like to go in and I read the comments. And I always, if I see comments, I usually go and see, oh, this person's got quite a few posts. They have followers and stuff. They're not bots. And a lot of people are like, they're sort of second guessing themselves now a little bit. I don't know on their actual, like, you're going to second guess yourself voting for Trump? Probably not out loud, but it's just, it was Kamala or him, right? Like it was like shit hit the fan for 4 years. You were
Yeah.
you were begging. So it's kind of like, well, we'll take the Israel stuff as a side dish because the
That's
main
the thing,
entree
dude.
is Trump coming after everybody. The
That is the
Epstein
thing.
shit and all that. Yeah. It's not,
But that is
sorry.
it, dude. That's it in a nutshell. It's like, it's always, I think Sam Tripoli say this on Tinfoil Hat. It's like, you always get he'll give you two, but he'll take one for himself, right? It's like,
Yes.
we'll give
It's that
you
10%.
right. It's like that Ukraine. We'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of this whole like transgenders in the military. We'll do all this, we'll get rid of taxes. We're going to do all this stuff, but then we're going to still fund Israel and we're going to help them bomb and then bulldoze. There's actually like, we're giving them stuff to clear out the mines and the stuff that's not blown up, bulldoze the area. So that way we could create something like this, starts out with a war-torn area, all this rubble and, make it look all happy. Look, the Trump Gaza train is here, dude. This is what the people over there want. Look at that.
What the beard?
Trump Gaza is finally here. A brand new light. Did you hear that? Look at this.
Yeah.
The trannies.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Yeah. And I've heard this on Ryan Gable's show that Israel is the capital of the world of homosexuality or like transgenderism. I don't know if it's transgenderism, but
is it more than like Thailand or Bangkok? Or?
Yeah. Like it's known to be up there. That's just what he said. I don't know. Everybody can go fact check that. But check this.
Is he trolling people with this?
So that's
what I don't know. I don't know.
The golden balloons, everything.
Like he started the address tonight, the State of the Union address, saying we are in the golden age. That was like the first line.
He says it all the time. Look at the golden statues, right? And everybody was comparing that to Nimrod.
Mm-hmm.
So here I got that too up at the top.
It almost looked like the Oscar gold with the statue.
So it, in the times of Tower of Babel guy, whatever the hell it is. So I don't know. It seems like, what are we doing here, people? Like just another piece of evidence that, he's trying to do Antichrist vibes. It's like, bro, just chill.
Yeah, like this at this point, it's not even talking in code, because I remember when I first woke up to all this in 2020, I kind of had fun deciphering his code and trying to figure stuff out, depending the way if the flag had the frills on it, what tie he was wearing,
right,
what clothes Melania was wearing, because she would always use the clothes to explain what's happening and stuff like that. And now I look at it being like, I'm tired of decoding this, because it's nonsensical. Like even the way they were acting in that office, it's nonsensical.
I mean, you got these memes coming out, so it's I mean, so here's the deal, though. Is this all could be a ploy to get Israel in the limelight, because when you look at the JFK files, when you look at 9/11, when you look at Epstein, everything goes back to Israel, dude. So, I mean, like, I have a clip of JFK. It's a video about his assassination and the possible reasons why it could be linked to Israel, dude. And so check this video out real quick. It's like a 2-minute video. We can like stop it if you want. So if you ever want to interrupt it, just let me know.
You can't talk about the Kennedy assassination without talking about Israel, without talking about the Mossad. They're the main people involved. That's the main group involved. The prime minister of Israel at the time said that without nuclear weapons, Israel would not survive. Kennedy was asking and asking and asking for neutral scientists to observe the reactor. He continued to push for this with CIA Director McCone and finally was granted access. Israel, prior to the visit, set up a fake control room with fake control panels, and part of the agreement was that the inspectors were never going to be able to inspect the actual reactor. After that visit, Kennedy was quoted in saying, "Those sons of bitches lie to me constantly about their nuclear capability." The Jewish community invites JFK to come to Dallas, which was sponsored by the Dallas Citizens Council, which was directed by Julius Sheps, who was a member of the local B'nai B'rith organization, the ADL B'nai B'rith, once again. A confirmed member of the local B'nai B'rith as well, Abraham Zapruder, was also just so happened to be the guy that caught the assassination on film. Zapruder was also a manufacturer headquartered in the Dallas Textiles building. According to ballistic studies, it was from that building the first two shots were fired and missed. The building was owned by David Weisblatt, one of the biggest financiers of the Anti-Defamation League, and Douglas Jaff, one of the biggest donors to Lyndon B. Johnson. The host committee that invited Kennedy to the event in Dallas was chaired by a guy named Sam Bloom. According to Dallas police, it was Bloom who pushed the hardest for the police to transfer Lee Harvey Oswald from the Dallas police station to the Dallas County Jail. Now, it was during that transfer that Jack Ruby shot Oswald. What was Jack Ruby's real last name? Jakob Rubenstein.
Rubenstein.
Jakob.
The reactor went critical right after Kennedy died, and they got the bomb a year or two later. That's kind of a coincidence, isn't it? It's kind of a strange coincidence. Kennedy dies, Israel gets the bomb. Gets the bomb.
Yeah, so it's, very intriguing, right? Like JFK's pushing for these nuclear reactors to go away. He doesn't want nuclear power worldwide, right? We're trying to get rid of this. But on the other hand, you have Israel saying we need nuclear weapons or we're going to be wiped out. So how do you solve that problem? You get rid of JFK, you bring in Lyndon B. Johnson, who doesn't talk about nuclear weapons at all with Israel anymore.
Yeah.
And problem solved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where that not only that, but JFK was pushing for the American Zionist organization, I think, whatever, back in the day. Now it's AIPAC, to become like this, what was it? I forget like the term, but like essentially you have to register as a foreign agent.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't, if you have nuclear powers and you're registered as a foreign agent, we can't give you money. Like that's just, that's not how it goes. Like we can't give you anything to do with war. And so you look at all of that and you go, well, damn, it sure does make sense that's why JFK would not want to be installed. So I don't know. It's I don't know if JFK was like a good guy, but I know that he got killed for a reason, dude. And if you look at Trump, like he's not being killed for any reason because he's playing the game, right?
Yeah, like JFK wanted to bring back the gold. Like he was like, we need to investigate the private banks. We want to stay on the gold standard. Like, there was a lot, and again, that's enough to get you killed right there. That's enough to get you killed. But the Mossad, folks, is the biggest part of the deep state. I think the Mossad controls the FBI, the CIA, our government. I think they're so big. They're so big. I think so. Yeah. I've seen a few videos where everything always seems to be tied to the Mossad or to Israel, and not the Israelis, not the Jewish people. They're good people. That's why I don't think the FBI. I don't think any of these files are ever going to be exposed.
The Epstein files,
to
right?
do that, any of them, even 9/11,
Oh,
even
yeah.
9/11, like the Mossad has their hands in everything, and I feel like the Mossad, you know, I feel like they at some point probably created the FBI and CIA in some ways to be part of the deep state. You know, they blackmailed everybody. You're not going to hear any of this. Those people standing up today on both sides, one side cheering for Trump, the State of the Union, the Democrats sitting there like this. Everybody in that room is compromised. They know it.
Yes.
And they don't look scared. All these Hollywood stars that we thought would go down by now, Tom Hanks, he was on SNL recently. All these things, none of them look scared. You know,
I mean,
if that's still them.
So here's the deal, though. Like, Tom Hanks wasn't on the flight logs. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I think Tom Hanks might be a distraction just thrown out there just so everybody, like, it's like oh, these conspiracy theorists type of, it's red meat for conspiracy theorists, but there's no trail there. There is some suspicious things that he posts, right, on his Instagram.
And there was when he got COVID, all the stars are like, if Tom Hanks goes down, then we're all in trouble. And a lot of the photos of him at the hospital looked like it was a military hospital because he was wearing glasses that were plastic. They weren't with glass on them. There was a barcode above the door. And a lot of people that in the military were like, this looks like a military place.
I get you.
And people and they were like, well, that's probably because COVID's so dangerous. But there were so many stars that were like, David Spade basically had a note like this on his desk.
Yeah.
Facing the cameras saying, talk to us, Tom, and stuff like that. But that's what got me woken up was the whole thing with Tom Hanks and Ella DeGeneres.
We'll see. But
you're right.
Happens.
They could have thrown that out there just to, hey, we got to let people know we do this stuff to kids. We got to let them know for karmic retribution, but we're going to continue.
Hollywood is there to be the fall guy, dude, like to take your eyes off the real players. So like going back to Israel here, like this is the house of AIPAC here. So you're looking at the entire Congress is pretty much bought and paid for by AIPAC, the pro-Israel lobby juggernaut. So all the black spots here are people who have taken AIPAC money. So either Democrat, Republican. I mean, look how many few Republicans haven't taken AIPAC money.
Yeah.
And this was back in October 12th, 2024. All of these members have taken AIPAC money. And you look at Donald Trump, I mean, he's taken millions. I mean, a lot, dude. And like that just came from the Adelson family. So Miriam Adelson gave him $100 million, right? And as soon as she did that, Trump let go that foreign spy, the Israeli spy. He pardoned him. So it's like he allowed him to fly back to Israel on his private plane. And you have to wonder what the hell is going on here.
Yeah.
Is he making it look like, is he doing this 5D chess game? Because, God, I fucking hope so. If not, we all better watch out.
But it's all under this veil that's confusing even his base now. Like we're getting, if we were part of his base, this veil is not really being lifted on the stuff we want to see. It's being lifted on the stuff that we didn't really need to see or didn't want to see, is stuff involving Trump and all this. And it's just kind of like, look, you got that kind of money being given to you, even from Elon Musk and these guys, like you're bought and paid for.
Well, not only that, but they did you see this where Thomas Massey was on the Tucker Carlson show and he was talking about how every Congress member in the Republican side has an AIPAC guy. Mm-hmm. Did you see this?
I did. Well, yeah.
So check this out, just in case anybody hasn't seen this. Okay.
By the way, everybody but me has an AIPAC person.
What does that mean, an AIPAC person?
It's like your babysitter, your AIPAC babysitter, who is always talking to you for AIPAC. They're probably a constituent in your district, but they are, firmly embedded in AIPAC. And
every member has something like this?
I don't know how it works on the Democrat side, but that's how it works on the Republican side. And when they come to DC, you go have lunch with them, and they've got your cell number, and you have conversations with them. So I've had
that's absolutely crazy.
I've had 4 members of Congress say, I'll talk to my AIPAC person. And it's literally what we call them, my AIPAC guy. I'll talk to my AIPAC guy and see if I can get him to, dial those ads back.
Why have I never heard this before?
It doesn't benefit anybody. Why would they want to tell their constituents that they've basically got a buddy system with somebody who's representing a foreign country? It doesn't benefit the congressman for people to know that, so they're not going to
tell you. Right.
No, it's a form of a handler. They're handlers.
Well, did you know that
Hollywood has handlers? These guys have handlers too.
Did you know that within 2 weeks his wife was dead after he had that interview with Tucker Carlson?
And how did she pass away?
We don't know.
Red tie on a doorknob kind of like thing.
People
again?
suspected, the miracle medicine, right? But then he came out saying, no, she was not. She did not take the miracle medicine. So it's just very suspicious that he reveals that every member, because no one knew about this, dude. No one knew. No one has ever heard about like every congressman having a AIPAC guy. What?
You think Tucker really didn't know? Like being that deep into, he's a political guy.
Well, and he wears the Kabbalah red string too.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there going like, sorry, bro. Like that's the whole. This is based on a true story, except for all the facts that have been changed, sort of thing. Being like, it's true, they're being handled by these people, but I don't believe that Tucker didn't know. He's like, oh, I didn't know that. It's just like,
well,
come on.
And not only that, but it's like we don't have a British guy, we don't have a South African guy, we don't have an Australian guy. It's just the AIPAC guy. Like one country is doing this,
Yeah.
And then so going into like the Epstein files, right? And you were saying like how Mossad is trying to like kind of control that, right? Because I mean, it's very clear if you look at all the lineage and the pathways to Jeffrey Epstein, he is heavily involved with Mossad, Israeli intelligence, right?
Right.
I have a clip here from Candace Owens, and she kind of talks about how it's a conflict of interest, right? So if you have these people who were involved and your country has this information on them, they would not want you to release that, right? Because then it would turn the country against them. So,
right.
So check this out, dude.
I am just tired of the Epstein conversation. We're never getting them, guys. Okay. Like, I just feel like this is getting weird, and it's this excitement of like, obviously people that are implicated in these files are way too powerful and they're never going to let it be released. I'm filing JFK files and the Epstein files as files that the American people are never going to be able to see because the people that are involved are the people that are still in control of America. How about that? That's what I think, actually. And so it makes no sense why we have this sort of media firestorm. The Epstein files are coming. The Epstein files are coming. And Attorney General Pam Bondi went on a media blitz and talks about how these files are coming up. People are really excited. Something that I find to be amazing about American history is how it's nearly impossible for us to ever have anything that implicates Israel declassified. If people know the story leading up to JFK's assassination, the arguments that he was having with Ben Gurion, the prime minister of Israel, the fact that AIPAC, then it was called AZC, was told by JFK that they had to register as foreign agents under FARA, demanded that they register as foreign agents, and that obviously you're not allowed to lobby for a foreign country according to our laws. And then lucky AIPAC, JFK got shot. And we're not allowed to see those files ever again. Epstein, we know that he's had Mossad connections. That seems to be very apparent. CIA, Mossad stuff. Again, CIA, Mossad. I don't even know if there's a difference anymore. And suddenly it becomes very complicated to release files, right? There's just something that's just so complicated about the process. And so we learned that phase one of the files are being, and we've got to black out names, guys, because, it takes.
Yeah, so look at this. This is one of the sheets. And here's the deal is when it comes to the FBI files and the whatever Epstein files, like the list, there is no like list. OK, there's a lot of documents that's already out there, like on the FBI vault.gov. Right. Like I've watched Ian Carroll. He just did this whole kind of like response to Pam Bondi saying like, Pam Bondi, you clearly don't know what you're doing here. Like it looks like you have a very surface level idea of what's happening,
Right.
And you were put into the spotlight and into this position without a lot of knowledge. And there was not a lot of knowledge sharing around how many files there actually are, who has them, what's been released, what's allowed to be released, all this stuff, right?
And what's her role, Greg? She's
she's Attorney General.
And what does that mean? For just because I'm Canadian and I have no idea.
Honestly, I don't really know that much either, but we can look it up real quick.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, listen, it didn't look good for the movement. That's what a lot of patriots were saying is, they came out with these binders. All these influencers are all smiling and giggling, holding these binders up. And like, this is not a funny situation. This is very serious if it's what we think it is, the trafficking of women and children, stuff like that. And if Israel is tied to any of this, we will never, ever find out. Same with 9/11. If you do your research on 9/11, find about the Israeli theater or art people that were living in the buildings beforehand.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. And then not only that, but
never brought up
the dancing Israelis. They were flown back. I mean, urban moving company. Look that up, people. Like their office was suspiciously just empty when they went to go investigate. And then those 5 guys went on a TV show once they got over to Israel saying, we were there to document the event. What? You were there to document the event, so you knew some event was going to happen? And then, I don't know, just very, very weird. But like you said, these guys start coming out of the Oval Office. They are... Like,
check the lady in the white here. Like, this is just silly.
That's Libs of TikTok. So you got DC Drano as the first one, right? Holding it up like... I said he looks kind of like a... what's his name? Mark Hamlin? He kind of looks like Mark Hamlin missing a chromosome a little bit. Like, just a little...
just a little slow.
It's a little slow Mark Hamlin there. Not that...
Like, this is silly.
I mean, Mark Hamlin's kind of slow himself, but...
Yeah. It looked silly for the seriousness of it. And then what was even more silly was 200 pages where she... Bondi was like, well, we didn't know they were going to hand us this. Even though I saw a video of her saying, we know what's coming. She says she has seen the files and you will be shocked. And then they come out and say, literally, oh, well, I didn't know. It's like right the
here,
internet doesn't lie. Like, we're literally taking footage of her saying one thing one day and the next day be like, I got bamboozled.
Exactly,
we didn't know.
Dude.
I'm like, you knew. Well,
and she came out with such confidence, like you were saying, like she was like,
that's it.
Oh, and you know what? And I hope, but like tomorrow, I'm breaking it right here. She was on Jesse's Waters. I'm breaking news right here. We're going to release the files tomorrow. They're on my desk. And it's like, you have no idea what you're talking about, lady. Like
I was reading comments of people that lived in Florida saying when she was, whatever role she was in Florida, pardon my ignorance, guys, because I don't know what she was in Florida, but she was all talk and no bark. Same thing. Oh, like says a lot, doesn't do a lot. Yeah. I kept seeing
because it says right here, she is an actress known for Florida Wild. Sorry, this is going crazy here. Florida Wild, CNN Newsroom, Artie Journal, whatever the heck. Yeah. I mean, they're all actors, everybody.
They are.
But I mean, she is clearly like just polished TV. She's there for the speaking points. Like you said, she claims that the Southern District of New York was holding back thousands of documents. Mm-hmm. And she all of a sudden just had to go find them. And it's like, how did you find that out? Yes. How did you find out that the Southern District of New York was holding back files, right? Now, here is what came out yesterday, March 3rd, where she's saying that a truckload of Jeffrey Epstein files have arrived. And I've seen the picture of these, and it does look like a truckload, but it's just, you see the boxes and you don't see inside the boxes. So anything could be in there. They could be fucking empty, right? But here is her kind of explaining, and I want you to watch some of this because listen to how Sean Hannity sets her up by explaining the answer to her, and all she has to do is say, yep, that's how this works, people.
He's laying it up
We
for
all
her.
did. And the FBI handed over a couple hundred of pages of documents. But, you know, Sean, I gave them a deadline of Friday at 8 a.m. to get us everything. And a source had told me where the documents were being kept. Southern District of New York.
Okay, who's the source? A source told you that's where these documents. Why didn't they tell you that before you went on public television on Jesse Waters saying you have all the documents and they're on your desk? What's going on? Like, is this source even trustworthy? Are they pulling your chain? Do you still have all the documents or not have all the documents?
They're pulling something.
So we got them all by, hopefully all of them, Friday at 8 a.m. Thousands of pages of documents.
Did you hear what she said? Hopefully all of them.
Yeah.
She doesn't even know, people.
She doesn't even know. And that's my thing was, if you're not sure, just wait. You know, by doing what they did, it just looked really bad. If they had just said, hey, they're not cooperating, you have till Monday, you know, and then get their shit together. But she's like, you know, she literally was like, I saw the files paper, the myself, and it's shocking. And then to come out and be like,
well,
oh,
I mean, she didn't say I
it.
saw the files. She said what this man did was disgusting and it was disturbing or something. Like, how do you know? You haven't even really looked into this, you know?
Right.
And now she's hoping she has all the files. Okay, Here we go.
Us everything, and a source had told me where the documents were being kept. Southern District of New York. Shock. So we got them all by, hopefully all of them, Friday at 8 a.m. Thousands of pages of documents. I have the FBI going through them, and Cash is also, now that we have Cash here, it's a game changer, of
now
course.
Listen to this. Now
and
listen
Cash
to Sean
is
Hannity.
going to, Director Patel is going to get us a detailed report as to why the FBI withheld all of those documents.
Okay, I want to be clear because I think people got frustrated because they were expecting more. You were expecting more, and you didn't find out less than 24 hours before the release. You got a whistleblower that confirmed that there were way more documents that they were supposed to turn over, and then you found out just before that.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
He basically laid out exactly what she was supposed to say.
Yeah.
I want to just set this clear. So this is what happened, right? You had this whistleblower who said had all the documents, but you didn't have all the. Is that right?
Yeah. If he was in court,
is that right?
They'd say over objection, Your Honor, leading the witness.
Right.
That's basically what he's doing.
It's like, hello,
you're leading the witness. Yeah.
And so, and like her answer is just like, listen to what she says here.
Well, sure. And you're looking at these documents going, these aren't all the Epstein files. You know, there were flight logs, there were names and victims' names. And we're going, where's the rest of the stuff?
What?
And that's what the FBI had turned.
Where's the rest of the stuff? What? This is a fucking show, everybody. Like, are you kidding me? You trust this woman?
Yeah. You guys, please pull your heads out of your asses and wake up a little bit here to all this. And you'll have those people that will be like, this is the greatest movie, you know, of all time. And you know what? To them it is, because they're securing more money for themselves, more power. For the rest of us, all that's happening is every day is becoming like a to-do list. I almost feel like every day is like a the days just fly by. What am I doing today? Like, it's just like, you know, there's no, I don't know how to say this because I said it the other day. There's no bright light at the end of this tunnel. It's just there isn't. I'm not trying to be a Deborah Downey guy. I'm just like, there isn't.
Well,
There
and so
isn't.
here's the deal.
You have to do your own thing to see that bright light. If you follow this, you're just going to be stuck in this tunnel the whole time. And human beings aren't supposed to, you know, digest all this information. It's too much. And that information overload, you know, is difficult for the average person. That's why there's shows like us that we're doing here, just to take it and break it down. And please, is like I said again, time to get your head out of the ass or out of the clouds and go, this is not going to go the way you want it to go, guys, and it never will. It can't. Too many people are involved.
Yeah, I agree. It's there's a lot to break down. That's why they have this lady breaking it down there for you, and they have this guy feeding her the answers. I mean, you can't have it very complicated. No. And come up with the connections with Mossad, Israel, you know, the Five Eyes spies, all this crap, right? The CIA, the intelligence operations. You can't do that because it's too much. It's overwhelming. It'll scare people, right? Like, oh, wow. Yeah. But like, people need to wake the fuck up pull their heads out of their ass and realize like this isn't a game and this isn't fucking like a superhero movie. Okay, like I get you don't want to be negative, but it looks fucking negative, man. Like this isn't good. All of Trump's picks.
It's not, and they'll throw out stuff like Kash Patel. Everyone was excited. Great. We got a good guy on there. Dan Bongino. I don't know much about Dan. I used to listen to him as well. But again, he could just be a controlled opposition. I don't know. Like, that's where he throws out a couple good things, like you said, where the movement, I don't know if it's a movement anymore, but the Patriots, MAGA, whoever, are excited, being like, we got the right people in place. You can have all the right people in place, but I sent you a video of Dan Bongino, and he's basically won't say the word Israel. And then when he's asked a question, guess what his answer is, right? So, Israel.
Well, this is the one where he does answer, and it's the most important thing to him. Listen.
That's right. What cause is dear to your heart?
Cause is dear to my Israel, the defense of Israel.
Why?
What is
Israel, the defense of Israel is close to your heart. What about your wife? What about your family? What about your kids?
Yeah, like that. I had the same video where he at the beginning, he's in a different studio, and he just won't say. He goes Western, Middle East, but he won't say Israel. And then that video that you just played, and I was sitting there going like, why?
Right.
What do you mean? Why not your country, your wife, your children, your veterans?
Yes. Your country. What about America?
Like, come on.
Dude, I'm just saying, like, it's not good, people. Like, it's
not.
Next level bought out. Everybody is compromised. And I don't know how to freaking say it any more than that. And you have,
but I think, Greg, I think at this point, like, if there is save Israel for last and they do get exposed to some degree or something happens, I don't want to be the ones that we told you so. It needs to be like, we know now, what do you do differently to take your country back? Canada is basically under the thumb of China. Like that's who rules us, just the way Trudeau has aligned himself and talked praises about China. For you guys, biggest superpower of the world, it's Israel. So unless we say to China, hey, you're not going to have your military up here in Canada doing, what do you call it? I was going to say activities, not activities, but training. Sorry, up here. Trudeau was like, I really like the way China does this or that. That's our version of your Israel, where we like is. I want to support them. What's your biggest, hope? I hope for Israel. It's like, thanks, Dan Bongino. Like, it's what's closest and near dear to your heart? Like, what cause is near to you and dear to your heart? Israel, my family and my friends. Like, Ruby the dog. I just had her for a couple days. Having your pets. And well, maybe your work if you're self-employed, like what's dear to your heart. And it keeps on going, Flex, because this is a good transition into Bobby Kennedy, because now we have him getting on the anti-Semitism train. And this is how they do it, is they roll it in an anti-Semitism package, because if you even try to assume that you have this country with a rate like an influence over whoever, and like you don't want to assume things because then you'll be labeled as an anti-Semite or anything like that, right? But even Trump, one of the first things he did, like the first leader that he met with was Netanyahu. As soon as he got back, one of the first things that he signed was an anti-free speech bill that you can no longer talk about or protest Israel on college campuses. And I'm like, yeah, we have laws, bro. We already have laws. We have laws against violence. Just recently, right when he got in today, I thought even just recently, like today or yesterday, where you can't have illegal protests anymore at schools. I think he will be posting something like that. Yeah, but I mean, I get it. It's like no violence. That's already illegal. No drugs, no threats. That's already illegal, right? We have laws to take care of this.
Why are you doing an anti-Semitism bill? Why not like an anti-Muslim bill? Why not like an anti-Christian bill? Why not like an anti-anything bill? Like you're specifically doing one race, creed, religion, and it's not making sense unless it does make sense if you're thinking about it, right?
Yep.
So I mean, you got, and this was Kennedy before I think he stopped running for office. He is with this guy who is a very pronounced Jewish man.
No. I want to thank our dear friend Bobby Kennedy, phenomenal friend of Israel and the Jewish community, for joining us to celebrate Israel Parade on Israel's 75th birthday. Bobby, this crowd loves you. God bless Israel. I'm going to be a champion for Israel as president.
I'm going to be a champion for Israel as president. God bless America.
And you see how much they have, the love they've shown you, your family's legacy, your family's contribution to America, and the friendship between it.
But this guy is very rude, crude dude. I mean, he accuses everybody of being anti-Semitic. Like, it's just like,
but
dude.
it's easy to do that. It's easy just to throw it out there. It's very easy.
Right.
When you get into an argument, you're like, you're a racist. I'm like, how? I'm Greek. I'm brown. Like, what do you mean? Like, it's just like, you're just throwing it out there. And I think Bobby Kennedy, sorry, but he's just a bait and switch. He's a bait and switch, right? Now that with this whole vaccine stuff.
Yep.
And they're going to use him to garner the trust again from people for the mRNA, vaccines that they want to do, the AI and something with the measles. Here you go. Yeah. Vaccines are not only protect individual children from measles, but also contribute to community immunity, protecting those who are unable to be vaccinated due to medical reasons. That's for those that aren't watching, just listening.
I mean, I heard this, Anomaly was talking about this, and that sounds like something Dr. Fauci would say.
Yes.
You have to get immunized for those who cannot get immunized, like children and sickly people. And it's like, dude. Is there rumor that his wife's on the Epstein flight logs as well? His I don't know
Robert
about
Kennedy
that.
Jr.'s.
So here is there was this thing where he was it was his ex-wife. I think she was the one who died, but she was they went on Epstein's plane twice. I'll try to find the clip, but I did a whole clip on that. And his wife had a relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell, and he never really elaborated on that.
And it's funny how we don't see anything of her. We never saw any video of her being arrested in court. It's always a sketch. It's always a very hush-hush. Like she was hiding in Vermont or Connecticut. Like what?
Yeah.
Of all the places in the world.
Well, she wasn't really hiding. She was being protected by intelligence agencies.
It.
You know what I mean?
It's like.
So check this out. So RFK Jr. admits that he flew on Jeffrey Epstein's Lolita Express and hung out with Jeffrey Epstein on a fossil hunting trip, dude. I remember this. So check this out, dude. This is
You weren't ever on Jeffrey Epstein's jet, were you?
I was on Jeffrey Epstein's jet 2 times. I was on it in 1993, and I was on it and I went to Florida with my wife and 2 children to visit my mom over Easter. My wife had some kind of relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell.
So right there, he says, I know it's hard to hear. I tried to turn up the volume, so hopefully the volume works. But
no, it was good.
He's saying my wife. First of all, he said I went on Epstein's plane twice. My wife had a relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell. He doesn't really explain what that is.
No, they never do.
And they offered us a ride to Palm Beach. So I went then, and on another occasion, I flew again with my family, with I think 4 of my children, and Mary, my wife, to Rapid City, South Dakota, to go fossil hunting for a weekend. And
fossil hunting, bro. Like what? Who is this man?
I've ever heard of fossil hunting, unless you're an archaeologist, unless
right.
you're Indiana Jones.
If
and
you
listen,
look up,
he could have flown on the jet. Like, listen, there's going to be people that are associated
right.
With Epstein in a way where, like, you know, maybe they did go to the island, but they left. Like, they didn't take in it, you know. And that's, but, you know, but that's, we need to know those people too, being like, hey, I wasn't part of this, you know, and I'm sad to hear that shit went down when we weren't there, but I wasn't part of it.
But check this out. This is his ex-wife, Mary Richardson Kennedy. She died by suicide, hanging.
Yeah.
And when they found her, her fingers were between the rope and her neck.
So she's trying to take it off.
Right. Or she didn't want it on in the first place.
She changed her mind after she started to hang herself. Like,
well, now here's the weird thing is she was originally buried by the family, like at this, like wherever, like all of the Kennedy family was buried. But Bobby Kennedy had her body exhumed and moved farther away in this different location. And it's like, why did you dig up her dead body and move it? It's very bizarre, dude.
Very bizarre.
Right? It's like, you cannot have this woman associated with the family. Like, get her out of here. It's like, what are you trying to hide here? You know, it's just like, very strange. So, what do you think about this RFK Jr. kind of switching his case here? Like, now he's all pro-vaccine.
I just think, you know, when I started last year thinking, how do you get people to trust the medical industry again, especially vaccines and stuff, is you have Robert Kennedy Jr. join the administration. I remember in our private group little chats, I brought that up, and I was told, you know, by some of our followers, like, nah, he would never go along with Trump. They can't get along. They don't like, because he actually said, if I am able to debate Trump, I would debate him on warp speed and on COVID and stuff like that. So how do you shut someone up? Well, you say, hey, come join the administration, give you some kickbacks, and we need you down the road to get people to trust the medical institutions again. And I think that's what his role is right now. I think it's just a bait and switch. So all of a sudden, he'll be the one supporting the AI, the Stargate we were talking about a few weeks ago.
Yeah, Project Stargate.
You see the bigger picture now. Like, you just see, like, it went from having this superhero, like the super team, like all the superheroes that you wanted in administration, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, RFK Jr., and you're like, that's what you said earlier. We'll give you 2 things that are really good. We'll give you 3 things that are really good. But here's the one thing that's not. And it's this whole agenda that's in the background where they're just using these people to convince people to come back and rethink things. You know, and people are going to rethink. They'll rethink it. They'll be like, well, if you can cure cancer with a vaccine, I'll take it, you know?
Well, and honestly, I don't know if... So what Kennedy has always talked about, like, was the stuff that they put into the jab, right? The mercury that caused a reaction that, like, was not very good, and your body had, you know, some significant reactions to that, and then especially children, right? So I don't know if they've removed the mercury. I don't know the whole science behind all that shit. So I'm wondering, like, what if the mRNA what if that, like, kind of sequence can be used to cure cancer? And they've tainted it with the whole miracle medicine in 2020. And so now no one will ever take it, right? So they're saying, like, we know we can use this to cure cancer. How can we taint this product permanently? 2020 miracle medicine. But then it begs the question, why was Trump a part of this? Why was he the father of the miracle medicine? Why was he pushing it still to this day, saying that it saved millions of lives? And then you're wondering, I don't think it's good. Yeah. Right? It's like, you can't have both. You'd have, like, Trump saying, like, hey, this is good. They did it wrong. We know how to do it right and all this stuff, right? But no one's ever going to even have that.
Yeah, it's like the whole cake, you can't have your cake and eat it too type of thing. It's kind of like, you know.
Well, we just need to address what happened. And we need to address, like.
Well, that's it.
You know?
And that won't get addressed either. neither will the 2020, you know, with the whole Biden, you know, how he got in. Like, these are things that need to be addressed before you start handing more money to Ukraine, if they're going to, more money to Israel, which they are, you know, even before the P. Diddy stuff. Like, these are things that need to be addressed first, you know?
Yes.
And it won't be, because if you do that, people like you and I will, and Donut and all these other folks that we follow and we've had on the show, will start to piece things together and realize this was planned from the beginning. Meaning Trump was selected to be in 16. This was the plan. He's playing a role, you know, and that's why I don't think we'll ever talk about the 2020, you know what, and COVID, because he went along with it to end up being this martyr who ends up being this larger than life superhero with this superhero team. Everyone wanted him because the last 4 years were so bad. Like it's horrible up here. Right now we have the Premier of Ontario saying, okay, we're going to cut off power to the eastern seaboard of the U.S. because they put in the 25% tariffs on Canada today. And Trump just said today, you do that and retaliate, we're going to 50%. So there's all this, you know, back and forth between people who, at this point, I don't trust any of them. And I think that's a cover for something else, and I don't know what it's a cover for.
Right. Well, I mean, it's the perfect agenda, right?
Yeah.
You build up the problem, you create the reaction, and you have the solution, Donald Trump coming in, right? It's the Hegelian dialectic to a T. It's like problem, reaction, solution. It's the dark to light Masonic ritual. America went through this humiliation ritual, and now we have the light coming in, the light bearer, Donald Trump. He's coming in to save everybody, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, it seems so scripted. I don't know how people can't see it. And, unfortunately, it's just like they're promising you things that either they will give you, but it won't mean anything. And they know it won't mean anything because they can continue their operations as they're doing it, right?
Yeah.
Because like this list, like, to be fair, like the Epstein list, I don't care who's on it. I care who was doing stuff with it and who like, why were they collecting the information in the first place? Let's go after that operation.
Yeah.
You know?
And if they're living their lives, no, they should be in jail and they should be executed or whatever, if you've done stuff to kids or whatever. At this point, we kind of have an idea of who's on the list. Like nothing will surprise me. You know, nothing will surprise me. You know, I know when Bondi says, you know, it's horrific and you'll be surprised. There's quite a few people. There's a big percentage of people that I still don't think they understand what Epstein is going on. I think the Diddy stuff kind of helped wake up people, but there was no ties. You know, there was no ties because I had even friends of mine saying, what do you think about this? Is this tied to the Epstein guy you were talking about years ago? And I go, it's all tied in. It's all tied in. You know, it's just like, and that's in May. Like that court case is in May for Diddy, and his lawyer just said, I can't represent this guy under any circumstances. So thumbs up. And I feel that's the situation we have here. Like it's always the cover. I think the tariffs up here, because I have a friend who is an RCMP officer, which is our version of the FBI. He says the largest amount of fentanyl coming into the United States is coming through Canada. It's coming through. Really? Yes, this is what I was telling you last week. So I've done a little bit of research, and I have found some videos on it. I've just been looking into it. Okay. And I asked my buddy who is an RCMP officer, and he says in BC where I'm at, because it can come from China, it can come through Vancouver, Toronto is another hub, and same with Montreal. And this is where I'm just giving some kind of oh, maybe this is why Trump has said you need to make your border stronger. And I think it's him. But why not just come out and say your border's weak, fentanyl's coming through, and until you fix that, we're not doing any business with you or whatever. Instead, he's saying, well, you know, we're subsidizing you. We're doing, which could be true. We're doing this. We're doing that. I'm ashamed about all the Canadians that are booing the American anthem. We're better than that. We're better than that. So there's now that division now. There's more division between the U.S. and Canada. But if it's because of the fentanyl and the border, which would make sense, Trump talking in code, don't talk in code. Just say, hey, your border's shit. You're bringing in stuff that's killing our people more than Mexico is. Just say that then.
Well, and that makes me wonder if it's even true. I mean, so if was it a rep, and that's what I like. Who do you even trust now? Because I was just about to ask you, was it a reputable source? But it's like, what is a reputable source? Like,
I would
couldn't
believe
tell
it
you
because my friend at the gym is an RCMP officer. He goes, yeah, we have a lot of fentanyl that comes through and goes through here. I didn't get into it about the tariff stuff because I was just asking about it. He goes, yeah, I mean, we have to, BC made drugs legal, like hard drugs legal, like what? And then now they've come back and said, what, that didn't work out. That didn't work out. So Canada is not having a very secure border. Trump has sort of said it under his voice a little bit. And that might be tied in with the tariffs as well. Maybe not. I mean, America first, for sure. He's thinking about, let's have our own stuff here.
I've heard something that he wants Canada and Greenland for strategic advantage in case World War III happens. And that way we can set our troops way up there right by Europe.
Yeah.
And we can use that as, just a positional standpoint. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's one of those things where I can see
if they're an ally, you don't need to take over a country. You should have a good relationship with Canada and our government, being like, if there's a worry for World War III, can we have our troops come in and protect that? Like, it's just like, why?
I don't know if they're an ally, though. That's, that's the thing is, I honestly don't know who trusts who and who's working with who, Yeah,
you can't trust anybody, and everyone's working for someone else that you don't know.
And then all of a sudden, Jean Hackman's dead. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, did Canada kill Jean Hackman?
Oh, what happened? Fentanyl. I don't know. I mean, it's very, very suspicious that it took them a day or two to say this is suspicious. Because off the bat, they're like, no, they're just an old man. He just passed away at 93.
Jean Hackman.
And the wife and the dog in the closet. And
he was 95, bro.
95.
Have you seen him? Did you see what he looked like?
He looked nothing like. I wouldn't have. If he walked right past me, I wouldn't have been like, Gene, what's up, brother? I love your movies. Enemy of the State and Runaway Jury and all that. I wouldn't have recognized him.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find a picture of him. Yeah, dude, check this out. Ugh, he did not look good. Like that
doesn't look anything like.
Right?
Yeah,
that looks nothing like Jean Hackman.
No.
And he was found dead inside of his home, like you said. And like, here's what I don't understand is like, I have some notes on this. So,
and I did send you a video from the news.
Okay.
Yeah, the news kind of breaks. Yeah, and the news kind of breaks it down a little bit.
All right, here, let's check this out.
Let's see which one it is.
The very disturbing new details of the deaths of Oscar winner Jean Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa. They were found dead, as you know, inside their home in New Mexico on Wednesday, along with one of their dogs. Now, police say now that the circumstances appear suspicious enough to warrant an investigation.
In this quiet residential neighborhood on the outskirts of Santa Fe, a local caretaker made a shocking discovery.
Are they moving at all?
No, dude, they're not moving. Just send somebody out here really quick.
Two bodies, later determined to be 95-year-old acting legend Jean Hackman and his 65-year-old wife Betsy Arakawa, were found inside their home. According to a search warrant affidavit obtained by CBS News, patrol deputies arrived and noticed their front door was open with no signs of forced entry.
Weird.
They say they discovered Arakawa's body in a bathroom with a space heater near her head and an open prescription bottle and pills scattered across a nearby countertop. According to police, she showed, quote, obvious signs of death, with mummification on her hands and feet. Hackman's body was found in another room in a similar state, suggesting both had been dead for some time.
There was no immediate sign of foul play. Haven't ruled that out yet. This is an investigation, so we're keeping everything on the table.
On Thursday, police said initial autopsy results showed no signs of external trauma on his or Arakawa's body.
There was no indication of a struggle. There was no indication of anything that was missing from the home or disturbed. That would be indication that there was a crime that had occurred. There was no indication of that.
And according to the affidavit, there was no immediate evidence that there was a carbon monoxide or gas leak inside of the home. In a statement, the Hackman family says that they are devastated by the loss. And longtime friend and collaborator Clint Eastwood came out with a statement as well. He said there was no finer actor than Jean.
The very disturbing.
Damn, bro. Okay.
And they didn't mention that their dog was dead in the cupboard too.
Right.
In the closet. So that's you got three strange, like, look, he's 98 or 95 years old. I get it. You know, she's 65. That's kind of pushing it, going, all right, she died too with pills next to her and the space heater. Then you throw in the dog, you know, that's in the cupboard dead. It's
well, so here's the deal is the dog was in a cage, in a kennel.
Cage?
And so the dog couldn't get out. I guess the other two dogs were there. They were out of the kennel, so they were allowed to go inside and outside so they could go find food or whatever the hell. But like this dog was like just trapped and kind of just died from malnourishment, you know what I mean?
And that's a long time to go without anybody coming by. Like if you have like housekeepers and like who found them again, right? It was
why was the door wide open, right?
Yeah, that's it, right?
And
like
so,
nobody went by for 2 weeks to check in, like doctors or housekeepers or maid service or something.
Right. And so I looked up this article and here, I'll just show it here. So this is like
if I don't message my friend back within a day, because sometimes I forget, I get the "Are you alive? Are you okay?"
Yeah, right. They come knocking
and
on
that's
your
in
door.
one day. Exactly, right?
So like here is a Daily Mail article and they're talking about like Hackman was dead in the mud room. His cane and sunglasses were at his side, according to the police. Arakawa was found in the bathroom, prescription pills right next to her, all that stuff. So they ruled out carbon monoxide. Now, they asked 3 world-renowned experts in the crime scene, reconstructions, and forensic pathology about this. And one of them, the first one, was this guy, Dr. Michael Baden. Do you remember Dr. Michael Baden?
He sounds familiar, but why? What? Why? Who?
So he is, well, here, let's see here. I'll just pull up my notes. So he was the former chief medical examiner for New York City. He testified for the O.J. Simpson trial.
Right.
In favor of O.J. Simpson and basically said that like his testifying was that Nicole Simpson was not the intended target. And it helped Simpson because it extended the length of time that it took for the murders to happen to the point where Simpson's alibi made sense. So he kind of helped O.J. Simpson get off. He also testified for Phil Spector. I don't know if you remember that guy.
He sounds familiar.
He was like this musician that was like nuts. And I think like he murdered his wife or something.
Yep.
And you find out like Baden testified that he didn't know or he had no relationship to Phil Spector, even though Baden's wife was one of Spector's attorneys, bro.
Yeah.
And he also did the autopsy on George Floyd. And he concluded that George Floyd's death was caused by asphyxia due to the neck and back compression. No. And he had no underlying medical injury. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
So right there.
He's a liar.
Because we all know. Yeah, right there. Sorry. Stamped right on your forehead. Liar.
Right. But more importantly, he is the one who performed Jeffrey Epstein's autopsy. And he concluded that the death looked like a homicide, not a suicide.
Interesting.
Right? So he has all these weird ones. And then when it comes to Epstein, he's like saying what everybody's thinking. Like, the dude was murdered, right? And so he said that Hackman likely had a faulty pacemaker and that Hackman's wife found him and ran into the bathroom and fell and suffered a contusion and knocked herself out. And the dog was locked in the cage and there was no one there to feed or water him. So he died. I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds real simple, dude. That sounds
Was there any big moons last week?
Well, so we had the Oscars, right? And there's always a death right before.
We said that last week. There's always a death
right before the award shows. And so they always have like in memoriam and all this shit.
they're so good at this because we know it's coming and we just don't have enough to always pull the trigger and go, or the smoking gun, and there it is. You know, like, you know, he's 95 years old. Maybe, you know, his time was up.
Right.
God said, hey, I'm taking you. Or they have to always have a sacrifice just before an award show.
I mean, it was
Jean
95,
Hackman.
bro.
Yeah, they want to hack the DNA with this new vaccine.
That's what I'm saying. So like, I saw a Donut talking about this, and he put together like the words. So Jean Hackman.
Yep.
And I'm like,
I saw that too.
That's brilliant, dude. Like you're hacking the man's genes, right?
Yeah.
So it's just they're sending a message. Even you know, I don't know. I just think that when you look at the stage of the Golden Globes, did you even like look at any of that stuff? Or that the Oscars?
I caught a glimpse of it where, you know, the Masonic Freemason logo in the background, just like it is with X, you know, one part of it. Yeah. I mean, they don't hide it anymore. That's why I'm kind of thinking nothing's going to happen. And they're like, we're just going to continue doing what we do, because for years it was hidden from us. And now both sides are being too transparent with some of this idiotic stuff that's happening. Like you got, you know, Trump's base now going, what are you doing? And then you got the other side being like, what are you doing? They don't really hide it anymore. And I'm kind of shocked. I was shocked that they don't. I was shocked, but then I realized they don't care because nothing's going to be done. So they can put out as much as they want. And they'll have folks like Greg and I come out here and other guys try to put it together and whatever. Yeah. And
all we can do is talk about it.
That's all we do is talk about it and just be like, here it is. You know, I love to come in one day and go, holy crap, breaking news. Fauci's been arrested. This person's been arrested. And have a show on someone getting arrested.
Well, I mean, even if people get arrested, I just want to know that the process is eliminated. Like,
yeah.
Like, I don't want another person to fill their shoes, you know, and just have the whole thing happen. So I don't know, man.
The biggest money maker is trafficking women and children, because you can make money over and over again. Weapons can get seized. They're easier to find. Drugs, once you consume them, you know, the fact that you can traffic kids and women over and over again, it's $1 billion, maybe even $1 trillion business, which they've been doing. If you look at it that way versus they do it because of sacrificing. That's where I lose people when I talk about this to people that are still unawake. I don't go into the sacrifice part and say, you know, they sell their soul and there's so many levels they have to. I just say, listen, this is how it is. And they agree and go, yeah, I'm starting to see that with Diddy. And, you know, they're still not sure about the Epstein stuff because, like I said, nothing significant has come out to really explain to the normies, they're called, who he really is. And Ghislaine, as he used to call her, Maxwell's dad, when he passed away, members of the Mossad were at his funeral. Like these, you know, what's a Mossad? Like I have people have no idea what the Mossad is. That's why maybe this is to expose Israel and the Mossad to wake up everybody. But why not just come out and say it? Why not just have a press conference and saying, well, why do it like in increments where it's so spread out that it's hard to explain to people who don't know it because everything is spread out, you know, where it's just like, just give it all us at one time, rip the fucking Band-Aid off and let's go.
Yeah. And I don't think that that's ever going to happen. There's not going to be, as I've heard on, like, quite frankly, there's not going to be the Scooby-Doo moment where, hey, we got him. Let's pull the bag off his head and see who it is. It's like, we're never going to get that. And I know there's people who are hopeful, and there's definitely people who trust Trump and his current administration, maybe to a fault. But I would say to those people, try to do some research, please. Just any bit of research into, like, who funded Trump, who's funding his campaign, who's funding his administration. What does the administration really support? Right? And like, why are we not getting information? And I understand, like, you're dealing with this, you know, if this is like this undercover 5D chess move, you kind of have to play the game or you're going to get popped like JFK.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. If you play that video that I sent you of Elon on Rogan, like, he's terrified to talk about insider trading,
Yeah, let's
which
see
is
here.
still very, very, very.
It's more than just insider trading.
Yeah.
Like the insider trading stuff, like the stock portfolio stuff is quite trackable, but it's a lot more than insider trading.
The way they're acquiring wealth.
Correct.
And what other methods?
I mean, this is really going to get me assassinated. It's like I'm not lengthening my lifespan by explaining this stuff, to say the least. I mean, I was supposed to go back to DC. How am I going to survive? This is going to kill me for sure. In fact, I do think like it's like I actually have to be careful that I don't push too hard on the corruption stuff because it's going to get me killed.
Okay.
You know, yeah. You know, it's like I was actually thinking about that on the plane flight over here. It's like if I push too hard on the corruption stuff, people get desperate.
So that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and he actually, in his text messages back and forth, the Ashley St. Clair, when that whole drama mama thing was happening, and she was putting out text messages saying, Elon was saying, you can't disclose me as the father because, like, I would have a hit out or something. Like, he's like, I'm second in line for assassination after Trump. Mm-hmm. And I'm like,
it really
why?
Is.
Why is Elon tied with Trump? Why is Elon as important as Trump right now? He's everywhere.
And if he's worried, and if he's worried about revealing or pulling the veil back on the corruption with inside trading, and he's worried about his life, do you not think, like, you know, the Epstein stuff, like, you're going to get, like, that's why I think they're too scared that they will be taken out. Those that aren't scared because they're protected, because it's gone on for so long that they're just living their lives while the rest of us are like, how are you still walking the streets? And like I said, if you get too deep into that stuff, and maybe that's where they make their money. That's why he was like, you know, with the inside trading, it's interesting because, like I said earlier, I've seen many, many people talk about how child trafficking or just trafficking itself is a huge moneymaker because you can just traffic someone over and over and over and over again. It's like it's like a credit card with unlimited limit on it. And that's how some of these people have gotten rich to put money into the stock market. So if he's scared about just exposing the stock market stuff for his life, you know, how are you going to really talk about the real stuff, like an election that was, and this was given to you? Like, it's not going to happen, you know?
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's like, you know, if he's scared, who else is scared? Everybody.
That's what I mean, right?
Right. And it's, you know, so no one, it's just that catch-22.
Yep.
And I, you know, unless there is a plan to make this happen where you have to have these failures over and over again. And this sounds so pathetic. I'm saying, like,
yeah, I get it.
They're propping this thing up to knock it down, so that way you, as the people of this country, demand the action, and you see what's going on, and you're going, oh, this doesn't make sense, and everybody else has to put the two and two together, right? So they slowly kind of put things out, so that way you can do the math and demand the answers that, you know, we're kind of talking about today. So, yep. That's what I think. And, you know, after at the Trump's speech, I'm going to have to go back and listen to the whole thing. I saw like the first 15 minutes of him saying the golden age is here. And that guy got heckled and got thrown out.
Yeah. Who
Mr. Green.
Who got up with the cane and they're like, you need to sit down or the sergeant of arms will take you out. And I'm like, good Lord.
Yeah, it was a Democrat, like, Mr. Green or something. And I was trying to see if he got any AIPAC money too. Because I was like, oh, it's all a show, people. It's all a show.
It is. It's all a show. And, you know, I mean, it's fine for us because we put on a show by, you know, decoding their show, you know.
Right.
That's basically what we're doing, is decoding what they're doing and showing the trends and trying to establish a cohesive timeline, which is very difficult to do when things are just thrown at you on an hourly basis and then forgotten about, you know?
Indeed. Right on, everybody. Well, yeah, Flex, you stay safe out there in Canada, okay? I know it's getting a little hot and trotty out there with the tariff talk, but hey, I think you're going to be okay. Good episode, dude. We covered a lot of crap. I'm sure by next week, by the end of tonight, I'm sure there's going to be something just heavily dramatic that happens.
As soon as we get off, we're going to have people clipping segments of the State of the Union, and this is what he said, and this is what's going on.
Dude,
and it's important to keep up with stuff, but you can't let it consume you. I think people are putting too much pressure on a lot of change right now, and it's like you got 4+ years. Let's see what happens.
Let's do it. By the time we meet next week, I think the Pope might be gone. Officially gone.
Already is. I heard he passed away the 22nd or the 23rd. Yeah.
So we'll see. I think that
we'll
it'll be revealed here within the week. So by the time we meet next week.
The blood moon next week?
Honestly, don't know. But I feel like they want to time it. Yeah, I'll have to look at like astrology or whatever. Because I did text you. He was born on Saturnalia. I did not know that.
I saw that.
So December 17th, everybody's the Pope's birthday.
Yeah.
So, Anyway, all right, dudes. Well, until next time, everybody, stay safe out there. Flex, you stay safe. Everybody, stay steamy. See you later.